Hello, and welcome to The Connection. This podcast is about understanding and building the connection we have with others and with ourselves. I hope that through this podcast, you will be able to have more joy and fulfillment in your life. I'm your host, Jared Hurst. So, when it comes to life, sometimes things just don't go the way that we want them to. Sometimes we have trials and challenges and all sorts of things that come into our life, even when it feels like everything is set up to be successful. Even when things are going incredibly well, sometimes challenges come out of nowhere. And sometimes those challenges come time and time again. It can feel so frustrating that we keep having these things show up in our life. I believe that sometimes when a challenge keeps showing up over and over again, it's because there's a lesson we're meant to learn. It's because there's something that the universe is trying to bring to our attention, an opportunity for us to grow in a certain way, or a lesson that we're just not quite learning that we need to figure out. So I don't think it's always a bad thing, though it definitely can feel like it in the moment. I have had so much success recently with my work, and this is after having some struggles. I've had some times where things were not going as smoothly and as well as I wanted them to. And then I put all of this work in day after day and month after month, and things finally started to go really smoothly. And in fact, I was set up to have some of the most success that I've ever had in my career. Then I started having some challenges. It's interesting. Back in August of last year, I joined a group called the Inner Circle with Henry Amar. If you haven't heard me talk about him before, Henry Amar is somebody that I consider a friend. Henry really is an incredible individual. He has a podcast, he does music, he does speaking, he has a book that he's releasing, all these different things that he's created. He does all the things that I want to be doing with my life. I obviously want to be my own version. I want to be Jared, but Henry is just amazing. So please, if you're not familiar with him, go check him out because he has a lot to offer in a lot of different areas that can benefit your life. With that said, I joined his group back in August of last year, and literally the day that I started my group, I started having struggles at work. Fast forward, I finished his course in January of this year, and I've been spending the last 6 months really focusing on implementing all the things that he taught me, along, of course, with all the other things that I've learned through a number of other resources. Well, things have really started to flow for me and really started to go well, and Henry decided that he was going to offer a 21-day challenge where he has this group and everybody gets together and they go through these daily prompts, and anyway, it's really great. So he sends out this introductory email, and in that introductory email, he asked for us to declare an intention. So I declared the intention that I was going to start embodying the higher version of myself. And within an hour, I started having work challenges show up in my life again. I laugh and I cry when I say maybe I shouldn't do any more of his courses. And I mean that in jest, of course. Henry's awesome. It isn't a bad thing. It isn't a punishment. I truly believe that the reason this happens is because I am saying that I want to step into a more powerful version of myself. And the only way I can become that version of myself is through trial and challenge. And it's crazy how I can see that I have evolved and grown as an individual between August of last year and this weekend. I want to share with you some of the things that I've learned about being resilient and having tenacity, because I feel that those are some of the most powerful products in order to help us create the life that we want to live. The first thing that really stands out to me when I think about where I'm at now versus where I was and what I'm feeling is my choice to identify as someone who is resilient. I once heard somebody say that you have survived 100% of the challenges that have come into your life. Think about it. If you're still here, if you're still with us, every challenge that's ever been thrown your way, regardless of the outcome, you have survived. You are resilient. The end. You are resilient because you continue to fight and work through the challenges of life. And so at one point, I decided that that was one of my favorite traits about myself. I looked at my life and I looked at some of the pain that I've experienced, and I look at the way that I have reacted to those sets of pain and those experiences and those hard times. And every single time I've chosen not to give up, and I've chosen to continue to work on myself and better myself and try and change the results of my life. I'm not willing to just sit back and let my life continue to happen the way that it chooses to happen. I choose to take control and make a difference. I choose to learn. I choose to adapt. I choose to figure out why I'm continuing to make the same mistakes. And so because of that, I have identified myself as resilient. And so when these things come along, when these challenges come along, when this happened to me over this weekend, I said to myself, it's okay. I'm resilient. I've got this. I'm going to be all right. So that's, I think, the first thing, is choosing an empowering identity, choosing to be resilient, and having that be part of who you are. The next thing that I think is really important is you have to allow yourself to process, whether that's sadness, frustration, stress, whatever it is that you're feeling. You can't just bottle it up. You need to let yourself feel the emotions that you're having. So after 2 days of bad news, and frankly, that bad news is not necessarily definitive, I had one thing that I found out that I can't change. I had somebody that was deciding to buy a house. They changed their mind. They decided that they're not going to buy a home. That business is gone. There's nothing I can do about that. I have a couple of other challenges in my financial world as far as my business, where I don't even know for certain that they're going to happen. But those things, along with just the sheer number of those things that have popped up, have made it so it's really easy for me to get frustrated and overwhelmed. I was talking to my father, and thank goodness I have parents that I can talk with, that allow me to express what I'm feeling to them. I told him what I was feeling and my frustration, and the honest truth is I started to cry because I just felt so frustrated that this was happening to me again. That I was going through another struggle after how hard I've tried to grow as a person, after how much I've tried to have gratitude and appreciation for the things that I have had go well, after I've done all of this effort to show up at the highest level I can in my work life, for my clients, in each situation. I've done so much to change my outcome, and then I still get the same outcome. Or at least I'm on the verge of the same outcome. And so I was sad. I was frustrated. I was stressed. And I think that's one of the things that's important is you need to allow yourself to feel those emotions. And I think it's important to talk with somebody. I think co-regulation, the ability to talk through what you're experiencing with other people, is so powerful. How many times have you had it that you're talking to somebody and they haven't even offered you any advice, any help, anything? They haven't even said anything. And it's like you instantly know the answer to your problem. Or you instantly feel better just having gotten that off your chest. There's something about, as humans, being able to express what we're feeling to other individuals that help us. That's why I think therapy can be really powerful. I think there's other things that we need to have in our life outside of therapy. I think there are other ways that we can learn and develop and grow, and that is in no way taking away from therapy. I am a strong believer in that, and I believe it's something that everybody should have in their life. But I believe that it's a combination. It's an and. It's not one or the other. It's both. You need therapy and you need other actions in your life. So having a group of people that you trust in your life is so important because they give you a resource to work through your problems with. Somebody that you can feel safe with, that you can trust, will listen to what you have to say and help you work through those hard times. I think that's really important. I also think it's really important to develop and adopt an empowering mindset. I remember I had this one day, I was in my car and everything felt like it was falling apart. Everything was going wrong. And I just screamed at nobody in particular, "You will not break me." I've had that on a couple of times where I've just screamed or I've said that because I needed to get out that frustration. I needed to let the universe know that no matter what it threw at me, I was going to find a solution. I was going to work through it, and I am not going to give up. I don't care what happens to me, I will find a way through it. I will do everything within my power to create the outcome that I desire to have. I can't tell you how that's going to happen. I can't always tell you the answers to things right away. And that doesn't mean that every time I put my mind to something, things work out exactly the way that I want them to. But I'm not going to be broken by a couple of challenges. I am going to be resilient. I'm going to find a way, and I'm going to keep moving on. One of the things that I can tell you made such a big difference, the thing that I look at from a year ago to now, is emotional resilience. That ability to bounce back from what I'm dealing with. I can see how my life has changed over the last year. My ability to have a strong emotion, to allow myself to feel that emotion, and then get myself back to my emotional home that I want to be in order to get myself back to an empowering mindset and emotional state. To go from feeling sad, depressed, frustrated, stressed, to I have got this. I will make things happen. I'm able to look at the scenarios and I'm able to say, what can I do? So I look at what I have in my pipeline as far as my ability to create business, and I say, you know what? I've got this, and this that can create business for myself. So I'm going to be okay. I have this, and this solution if things start to fall apart on this deal. So is everything going to work out exactly the way that I want it to? Probably not. But I have solutions and ideas on every single one of those, and I have ways of creating emotional safety around the stress that I'm feeling. And I have ways, now that I've looked at the threats that are in my life, I'm looking at all the ways that I can make things happen. I've talked about this on past episodes. I'm finding the path. I'm dealing with adversity. I'm inspiring myself. I'm dealing with my fears. I'm working through my emotions. All of those things that I'm talking to you about every week help create all the tools that you need in order to be this resilient, tenacious person that can say, I will find a way. That's not the end goal. I think the end goal is to be able to basically feel the way that you want to feel. But the ability to feel the way that you want to feel comes from having all these tools, learning how to work through your emotions, learning how to show up for yourself, learning how to shift your focus, learning how to control the thoughts and the self-talk, learning how to work through your doubts, learning how to feel grief or fear or whatever it might be. All these things help you create a life that you can love and appreciate. And I went from being overwhelmed and frustrated to 10 minutes later, I felt pretty good and centered. To an hour later, I was like, hell yes, I've got this. And that would have taken me a day or 2 or 3 a year ago, or longer, multiple years ago. So that's what it's about. It's about learning how to be resilient, learning to have an empowering identity for yourself, learning how to work through the emotions, learning how to look at the positives and the ways that you can make things happen. You can change your energy and your momentum in an instant. Your energy can change at any moment based on your focus, your physiology, your words, your body language. Everything that you do helps you create an emotion. And so you can change your energy like that. And then your momentum can change so quickly. How long does it take me to get from a situation where I'm struggling to a place where I can be moving in a positive direction? You can instantly start changing your course of direction. You can't go from start to the finish line instantly. But you can definitely point yourself in the right direction of the finish line and start moving there. And some things you can find a way to go straight from start to finish. There are solutions, so don't limit yourself. Don't tell yourself, I can only do it this way, or this is how it's always been done, or whatever. The people that create amazing things in this world are the people that are willing to think outside the box, that are people that are willing to find solutions, that are willing to say, just because you haven't done it doesn't mean that I can't do it. You get to decide what kind of person you're going to be, and you get to decide how you're going to show up for yourself. I am sure that you have had your share of struggles, setbacks, and frustrations. Whatever you're dealing with, you can make it through this. Don't be afraid to ask others for help. Don't be afraid to go out and let people know what you're struggling with. Life is better when we have others in it. Fight that urge to isolate. Fight that urge to feel like you have to show people that you can do it alone. It's not weakness asking for help. You can do it. I believe in you. Until next week, remember that you are not alone.